very privileged to have heard Dr. Chong and Leong telling us what actually is the woes of the people of Sabah. I think I can say without fear of contradiction that Dr. Chong is the only real expert on the nightmare of Sabah about the illegal immigrants, and I think I must give him credit.
Yes.
But of course, it has been a very bleak and a gloomy presentation by him. We wonder, what can we do? What can we do? It is not a 1 year, 5 year, 10 year problem. It is at least a 45-year nightmare for the people of Sabah. And it should be a nightmare of the people of Malaysia. And I have been thinking just now hard and long as to what can we do? First thing, of course, it must be something that we in the Peninsular Malaysia must understand. It's not easy to understand all those facts and figures, but I think we have a grasp of the sense of the enormity of the problem. This is one of the biggest scams in the history of Malaysia, where you have close to 1 million illegals to become through illegal and fraudulent documentation, cast their votes, and imagine from 1970 to 2030 years, the population among the Malays in Sabah an increase of 1,500%. And from 1970 to 2010, increase over 2,000%. Remember Mahathir talking about a 70 million people policy? I mean, Sabah was like a contained or controlled state for experimentation. If Mahathir had really been able to run wild the way he was allowed to run wild in Sabah with his project IC, if we had 1,000, say for 30 years, 70 to 2000, he is from 1980 onwards, 1980 to 2010. That rate of increase, 1,500%. At that time, we had about 13 million. You talk about the total population, about 13.7 million. What will be our population today? What will be our population today? 1,500%. And I'm very bad in maths. Rafizi is very good, I think.
10 times.
Huh? We have 200 million people. Imagine 200 million people. I didn't forget about kata rakyat. This is the enormity and the reach of that type of scam that taking place. So Sabah is now in the suffering, in the caught situation. You must be aware. You don't need to save Sabah, but to be aware that what happened in Sabah doesn't happen in the rest of the country. But Sabah, what do we do? And I agree with Rafizi, the Royal Commission inquiry. I think we may need to have a Royal Commission inquiry on a Royal Commission inquiries. Then we don't have RCIs with a data, not UCK but DUD, data, which doesn't produce anything, which doesn't throw much light, which has no solutions, no answers. To the extent you have now a main committee and a working committee. A main committee, two committees, mind you, two committees on the RCI, what I call the RCIIS, the Royal Commission Inquiry into Illegal Immigrants in Sabah. What for? The whole purpose of a Royal Commission Inquiry is to study the problem and come up with a recommendation to solve the problem, and not to produce the necessary to produce two more committees to look into how to solve the problem, how to resolve the RCI problem. Is the problem soluble? That's not what Dr. Chong mentioned and all. I think it's all encapsulated in this paragraph. Sabahans who are genuine and patriotic Malaysian citizens are reaching to a point of hopelessness and are about to give up hopes that this problem will ever be solved. I think that resonates throughout Sabah. Hopelessness. And who said this? Who said this? When was it said? 2007, isn't it? 2007, 2008. 2007. This is a memorandum by Joseph Pairin, the leader of PBS, at that time already the Deputy Chief Minister, to the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Tun Abdullah. He said, we are giving up hope already, you know. How can all this problem continue? And today, 2015. He is the chairman of the working committee. He welcomes proposals how to solve the problem. It's just so ridiculous. If he doesn't understand how to solve the problem, I would say nobody else apart from Dr. Chong maybe lah. Then Pairin would have understood the problem. Would have understood how to solve it, how to resolve it. But he is now saying, please, I welcome your views. What are your answers to this problem? This is a height of ridiculousness. He knows. He has been presenting memorandum after memorandum. This is one of his memorandum to the Prime Minister of Malaysia in 2007, 11 April 2007. And now he's chairman of a working committee to find out, to ask for proposals how to resolve the problem. I tell Joseph Pairin, we invite him to come tonight because I think he's the best person to tell the people in Sabah and in Malaysia what he will do. He was appointed chairman. The RCI, I've always said right at the very beginning, the RCIIS was just, it's a scam by itself, in the sense that it was never established in order to resolve the problem. It was established in order to give the impression to the people of Sabah that the government is on board and trying to solve the problem and don't abandon the government, so that in the 2013 general elections, the people of Sabah will continue to vote for the BN. And they continue. And after that, nothing to be achieved. The report, the RCIIS, was presented to Lian on May the 14th last year. It was kept on the book and it was not presented to the Parliament. We continued. Jimmy and DAP and PKR, everybody continued to put pressure inside, outside Parliament, inside, outside the State Assembly. Where is the report? Finally, it was made public on December the 4th. EKK, not by the commissioners, none of them were present. Correct, Jimmy? None of them were present. Only the AG and the Chief Secretary. Where are the commissioners? Are they ashamed of the report? That, as the Dr. mentioned, they did sign more signatures. Are they ashamed of the report? And the report is not a full report. Transcripts of the public hearings amounting to more than 5,000 pages are missing. And the memorandum of various quarters amounting to more than 5,000 pages. Exhibits, making a total of over 10,000 pages are missing. What type of RCI report is this? Utterly irresponsible. And definitely the RCI report does not reflect the over 10,000 pages of all what is in the transcript of over 120 witnesses. 211 witnesses and the various exhibits. It is not a true reflection of what transpired at the RCI public hearings as well. So what can we do? The Audit Committee of Joseph Pairin is to watch out. His appointment took 2 months to come. He was appointed even before the RCI report was made public. He was appointed in middle of November. His appointment came only in the middle of February, I think. 2 months. 2 months. And of course, excuse me to do nothing. I have not been appointed. I have not received my letter of appointment. But since then, 1 month already. He has done nothing and can do nothing. I will, for a start, I will ask Joseph Pairin to just implement what you say in your memorandum to the Prime Minister in 2007. Implement what he his complaints, his grouses. And we are going to make public, we are going to put on the net this report, this memorandum of Joseph Pairin in 2007. And we will tell him, just implement it. All the questions you raised, your unhappiness about the number of illegal immigrants, the number of all that, resolve this problem. That he already raised 2007. And we will also put on the net the transcript of what he said at the RCI, at the Royal Commission Inquiry. Implement them. Don't need to ask for any more from the public. Just implement them. This report should come to Parliament, so that the Parliament can debate, so that we can take cognizance of these problems. But they're not coming because they think there's something now. Elections are over. To put in the garbage dump. But I think we should do something. Although Jimmy has also, we are all wondering what can we do. Probably we can form a parliamentary committee. But this parliamentary committee will be an unusual parliamentary committee because it won't be passed by Parliament. Because you expect Parliament to pass it, you won't pass it because there's still majority. But nonetheless, I think we should form a parliamentary committee on the RCI report. It won't be a parliamentary committee in the sense of a committee set up by Parliament. But it will be a parliamentary committee of members of Parliament who are concerned about the problem of illegal immigrants in Sabah and the RCI report. And probably we can open to all MPs, in particular to the 24 Sabah MPs, so that if they're concerned, including the Pakistan national MPs, if they're concerned about the RCI report about illegal immigrants, they can come and participate and join. And if they don't come, that shows they are not concerned. They are just all talk, and they will have to be exposed. Like if you form a parliamentary committee to look into the the RCI report, into the various aspects, and probably we should invite the Dr. Chong and Leong as the advisor of this parliamentary committee. That's why you are not happy. You are not happy. So you are advisor. If you are happy, you'll be a member. And then from then we can move on. Because look at what I just now saw a report of what Joseph Pairin said. He was telling Saili. He was telling Saili is not to harm on lost Sabah rights. There's a battle going on between Jimmy and Haris Saleh and Joseph Pairin and a number of characters in Sabah. Haris Saleh was the one who was responsible for my second band into Sabah. And of course, I think it's apart from this, the various attacks that Pairin launched against Haris Saleh in the retaliation of various attacks that Haris has made against Pairin, there's one part which I think deserves national attention. This is what Pairin said. If it had not been for him as Chief Minister, if it had not for Pairin as Chief Minister from 1985 to 1994, Pairin pointed out that even the special immigration powers vested in the state would have been taken away. That's why who can take away? Central government. Actually, I should not be wasting time defending myself. The Berjaya government was on the verge of surrendering Sabah's immigration powers before it was ousted from power. Some of us in Berjaya stopped it and asked for 3 years to take it over. This is the first time I read it. This is the first time Dr. Chong here has heard about it. Have you heard all about this before? You've never heard that the Berjaya government of Haris Saleh was about to surrender immigration powers, which that is the most substantive autonomous powers or autonomy of Sabah. You want to know, is it true? You want confirmation? Is it true that the Berjaya government in 1985, 86, 85, 84, 85 were about to surrender immigration powers to KL? And we want Haris Saleh to answer this. We want the federal government to answer this. He must be in the records. The Prime Minister to answer this because, and if nobody knows about it, it is a gross betrayal in the making. Why did Joseph Pairin hide it from the people for the last 20 years? How many years? 1985, 30 years. Why did Joseph Pairin hide this crucial fact, secret from the people of Sabah, but the people of Malaysia for 30 years? He's a traitor to the people of Sabah, if that's the case. Isn't it? Right. So I think this is shocking and very, very something that we must continue. We must not allow this problem to continue to hang the nightmare. There must be an answer. As Dr. Chong has listed out some of the answers, some of the ways to be resolved. There is no shortage of solutions. There's only the lack of political will. Right from the very beginning, in the 2007 memorandum to Pakla, SPM, Pairin said, it's the political will, no political will. Now that he is chairman of the working committee, let him show this political will. So I think we should continue to not only follow, but do what we can to help in the solution of this problem, so that this big scam in Sabah do not come to the rest of Malaysia, and disenfranchise the people of our political rights. Thank you very much.
We are going to open the floor now to questions. Excuse me. So can I take a few questions? Our jinx tonight is spreading onto me. Okay. Yes, can we have questions?
My question. This is to Dr. Chong. If you look at the wording of the RCI on the P1 to P2 and P3 numbers, the P3 they actually just says that these are illegally obtained IC, they should all be removed, should not be in the electoral or any, and it's basically is illegal. But P1 and P2, they actually, the wording of the testimonial is actually something like they are not sure whether they are legal or not legal. What's your opinion on that?
P3 are not ICs. P3s are temporary IC receipts. Yeah, you know?
Yeah, I know that.
They are given just to go to vote. After that, they must surrender. And RCI said, I give you this temporary receipt, ask you to vote, the end. The investigating officer said, they did all this for financial gain. And they said, I give you this temporary receipt to vote, but you have to give me money. Logic or not? No logic. How can I ask you to vote for my party and yet you have to give my money? This is not said by me, this is said by the ex-NRD officers in the RCI testimony. Oh, that's P3, yeah? P2, P1 is about 6,000. P2 also about 6,000. All IC numbers. P1 are given in 1979 to 1984. P2 are 84 to 88. They're all based on Sijil Akuan or statutory declaration to say that they are born in Sabah, which in fact not. They are not sure. They know they say they are not sure because I'm sure they're not sure they are not genuine Sabahan. Therefore, the records of all these people are not kept in Sabah but kept in headquarters here. When they said they're not sure, we have to investigate, they said. We have to review them. And RCI officer said during the JPN officer said in the RCI, we have a special committee to review this IC. And so far in 6 years, they have reviewed only about 8,000 out of 120,000. If they're really serious, if they want to review it, they'll take them 70 years. Number one. Number two, if the ex-director said, we gave them, the IC are genuine, but we gave them illegally to illegal immigrants. Even if RCI believed that the procedure is correct, but only the information was inaccurately given, So if you know the IC are genuine, but information was given inaccurately, why should you need the review? You just revoke them. Bukan nggak? That's why they said they're trying to buy time. By the time 50 years, 60 years down the road, all them mati already.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
Is there any way to track the offspring of P1 and P2 numbers?
The offspring. This is the tragic part of Sabah. If you want to trace them, you can. But what are you going to do with them? So the Rafizi said, humanitarian ground, you have to think about it. When you go to Sabah next time, you ask all PKR state committee members, ask them, which one of you are Malay? I asked, they said none of us. So, you want to humanitarian ground because they are Muslim. How about the other local people in Sabah, including the Muslim local people? They are also complaining. How to trace? You trace them, what to do with them? So it's a big headache for Sabah. It is really a big headache. So big the problem, I takut the time won't come, Sabah will be out of Malaysia because of them. Not by us, genuine Malaysians, but by them. You understand what I mean? Reverse takeover.
Dr. Chong, this is just an observation. Dr. Chong, YB Lim, I disagree this is a Sabah problem. Because as of GE 13,
It's a Malaysia problem.
no, okay, let me finish. As of GE 13, one for DAP seat of P110 Klang has 500 of them. And the next door seats in Kota Raja has 400 of them. So it's no longer a Sabah problem.
Yeah, if I may just, well, I agree with that. That is not a. It's not a Sabah problem. It's more and more become a Malaysian problem because we have a lot of Sabahan, not only Sabahan, but Sarawakians are already voters in this in Peninsular Malaysia as well. But as far as this Sabah problem, this problem in the recent parliament, the last few days, you know the famous MP from Sabah, Kinabatangan, what did he say? He says, yeah, here. The thought of how Putrajaya treats Sabah as a stepchild occasionally drives Bung Mukhtar Radin to flirt with the idea of Sabah's succession. I mean, this sense of hopelessness that I mentioned, what the Pairin wrote in his memorandum to the PM. So this is some things that the Malaysians must give very serious attention and not to allow all these illegalities, flagrant illegalities from taking place. They were seeing it every day. Of course, Rafizi is at the receiving end. Nurul today is now in Jinjang. On what? According to one report, because of what she said in Parliament, reading out the speech prepared by her father. And if that is the case, I think it's a gross abuse of power, because what you say in Parliament is protected by privilege. And I just have a quick check. I hear the Houses of Parliament Privileges and Powers Act, Section 7, says very clearly immunity of members of Parliament. Section 7, yeah. No member shall be liable to any civil or criminal proceedings, arrest, imprisonment, or damages by reason of any matter or thing which he may have brought by petition, bill, resolution, motion, or otherwise, or have said before the House or any committee. There was one time when the police came to me and wanted to investigate me for what I said in Parliament. I showed him this act. I said, you are breaking the law. Aren't you aware of Houses of Parliament Privileges and Powers Act? You cannot question a member of Parliament for what he said, what he did in Parliament. Otherwise, you are breaking the law. I said, even asked the Attorney General. He never came back. Of course, our MP's immunities, there are 4 areas where we have lost those immunities. as a result of the amendment to the Constitution in 1971. But they are very specific. They are on the question of the sovereignty of rulers, on the question of citizenship, on the question of Article 152 on language, on the question of Article 153 on the special position of the Malays and Buputras. These are 4 subjects. If you question, you lose your rights of immunity. Others, whether the court's decision on Anwar Ibrahim, fair, not fair, just, unjust, is not covered. So long as you can stand up in Parliament and speak and the Speaker does not stop you, you are covered by immunity. And if the police comes there, the police officer is breaching the law. And a police report should be lodged against him for him to be remanded in the Jinjang police station.